I feel like it's a bad sign when even like normie Moist Critical is posting videos about how the Epstein prison video was likely modified.
Yep, much to the chagrin of a lot of people in power, the conversation around Jeffrey Epstein doesn't seem to be fizzling out anytime soon, which is great. Hopefully, it will keep this steam and will never peter out because it is of the utmost importance that this gets corrected, that they stop trying to perpetuate these lies that they're attempting to shove down the American public's throat about Jeffrey Epstein not having a list, not indulging in blackmail, and then trying to drop what has now been revealed as modified footage of Jeffrey Epstein's cell area.
Sorry, I don't know why that's the case, Jessica. I've remedied the issue.
To prove that he took his own life and no one came in there. There was no fishy business. The Baba Yaga didn't pay him a visit or anything. And they try and proclaim that that footage was like the raw, real deal, organic sourced footage here. But what we're talking about today, it turns out that was once again another fucking lie. CoffeeZilla just made a video talking about it as well, so I'm going to play a few clips from that because he is significantly more intelligent than I am. And buckle your seatbelt because it is a wild ride.
The raw Epstein footage was modified according to its metadata, despite Dan Bongino previously saying that they would release the original footage so you wouldn't think there were shenanigans.
There's video. We are working on cleaning it up to make sure you have an enhanced.
I don't blame CoffeeZilla from moving from crypto to Epstein, I guess, because I feel like the crypto sphere is really drying up. There aren't as many crypto scams anymore, I feel like. So it was a matter of time.
And we're going to give the original so you don't think there were any shenanigans.
Well, unfortunately, that's not what we got.
To briefly explain for those that don't know, when the DOJ and FBI came out and said that Epstein did not have a list, did not indulge in blackmail, and did in fact commit suicide, they then dropped some footage that was supposed to corroborate that there really was no one else that entered his area and killed him or anything. So they dropped a lot of footage. And it's supposed to be the raw feed of it. Turns out that doesn't seem to be the case. It was very likely modified, and you're about to see the metadata that indicates that it most likely was, as well as a forensic expert that weighs in that also thinks that it was not done properly here.
And basically they pulled the metadata and showed that the footage appears to be assembled from at least 2 source clips, saved multiple times, exported, and then uploaded to the DOJ's website, where it was presented as raw footage, which technically it is not. Now, I pulled the EXIF data myself. This is what it looks like. You can see that there's these ingredients file path here, where you can see 4 different files. 2 of them are just identical. So 2 unique files here that have been basically stitched together is the most charitable interpretation.
So they went into Adobe Premiere and edited the footage, saving it multiple times. I cannot believe that they would even leave the metadata intact. You would think that these 3-letter organizations would be better at hiding their dirty work. Now, maybe if they were using the superior editing program, Sony Vegas, they would have been able to, get away with it more effectively, because Sony Vegas probably doesn't even have metadata. It's so fucking archaic. But they went into Adobe Premiere, spliced this together, and then sent it as raw when it is not raw. It is edited. That is, like, legitimately, by all possible definitions, a lie. Even though Bongino said, no, you're going to get the...
And this is what the article says. So the whole like touching up and cleaning up the page, which is what Bongino's claiming. Wait, where is it? No, it was on the screen. Damn it. Literally on the screen. Okay, here we go. To support its conclusion, the FBI reviewed surveillance footage overlooking the common area of the special housing unit at the Metropolitan Correctional Center where Epstein was held. The FBI enhanced the footage by adjusting contrast, color, and sharpness, and released both the enhanced and what it described as the raw version. Both versions of the video appear to have been processed using Premiere and include much of the same metadata. According to the FBI, anyone entering the area containing Epstein's cell during the relevant time frame would have been visible on that camera. So they claim that they published a version that was a little bit like easier to see what was happening, and then they released a raw version, except even the raw version had metadata on it. It shows clear signs of having been processed using an Adobe product, most likely Premiere, based on metadata that specifically references file extensions used by the video editing software. According to experts, Adobe software, including Premiere and Photoshop, leave traces and exported files, often embedding metadata that logs which assets were used and what actions were taken during editing. In this case, the metadata indicates that the file was saved at least 4 times over a 23-minute span on May 23rd, 2025 by a Windows user account called MJ Cold. The metadata does not show whether or not the footage was modified before each time it was saved. The embedded data suggests that the video is not a continuous, unaltered export for the surveillance system, but a composite assembled from at least 2 separate MP4 files. Uh-oh. Metadata includes references to Premiere project files and 2 specific source clips, 2025-05-22, and it says 21-12-48.mp4 and 2025-5-22, 16-35-21.mp4. These entries appear under a metadata section titled Ingredients, part of Adobe's internal schema for tracking source material used in edited exports. Metadata does not make it clear where in the video the 2 clips were spliced together. So TLDR, the metadata suggests that they used 2 separate videos and put them together. Now, it doesn't have to be deceptively edited, but it's definitely not a RAW. Oh. If a lawyer brought me this file and asked if it was suitable for court, I would say no, go back to the source, do it right. Do a direct export from the original system, no monkey business. I don't know who this is, Farad. Haney Farad, a professor at UC Berkeley, whose research focuses on digital forensics and misinformation. Oh, no. He says, the metadata raises immediate concerns about chain of custody, the documented handling of digital evidence from collection to presentation in a courtroom. Just like physical evidence, he explains, digital evidence must be handled in a way that preserves its integrity. Metadata, while not always precise, can improve important clues about whether that integrity has been compromised. He points to another anomaly, saying the video's aspect ratio shifts noticeably at several points. Quote, why am I seeing a different aspect ratio? He asks, uh-oh. He cautions that while the metadata clearly shows the video was modified, the changes could have been benign. For example, converting the footage from a proprietary surveillance format to a standard MP4. While there may be uncontroversial explanations for the metadata artifacts, such as stitching together multiple days of footage during a compilation or the routine export of surveillance footage to an MP4 format, the FBI did not respond to specific questions about the file's processing, and instead referred Wired to the DOJ. All right, back to the video.
Raw, so you know there's no shenanigans. But all we get is shenanigans.
Yes, maybe you didn't do anything with it, but it kind of ruins the whole chain of evidence. Wired actually quotes a professor of UC Berkeley whose research focuses on digital forensics. He has testified in numerous court cases, and he says, if a lawyer brought me this file and asked if it was suitable for court, I'd say no, go back to the source, do it right. Do a direct export from the original system, no monkey business.
It's actually scary just how blatant this corruption is. For years, they have talked about the Epstein list and the blackmail. It is something that everybody knows exists. Like, there is endless amounts of evidence to suggest its legitimacy. Yet now, all of a sudden, they're like, nah, it's not real. No, that's just fictitious. That's like fucking Santa Claus's list right there. That's not real. No naughty and nice list. No Jeffrey Epstein list. There's no such thing. Jeffrey Epstein's not even a real person. That's just a made-up fairy tale. Like, they haven't gone that far with that claim, but like I said last time, I feel like we're not far off from them just trying to deny Jeffrey Epstein ever even existed, trying to scrub him from the history books here. But like, they are actively just not even trying to make this believable. They are so confident that they will not be held accountable that they don't even bother to do even the slightest amount of elbow grease to convince anyone to believe them.
I mean, they've already lied about a million things and people still believe them. Why would they change strategy when what they're doing has worked just fine? Right? Like, I mean, like I said earlier, they created a fucking monster with talking about child sex trafficking rings and like making Hillary Clinton out to be this adrenochrome child bloodsucker. All the Pizzagate shit, all of these like people that they highlighted that are crazy, that are actually insane on these conspiracy theories. And then out of no, well, we're actually not going to release it. Ha ha ha.
This is truly unusual breaking news. You know the breaking news animation. You know sometimes the news is big, significant, serious. This one is unusual. A major escalation in what is increasingly a kind of political, quiet, peaceful civil war, but a civil war of political proportions for MAGA over these Epstein files. And it's roiling the Trump administration at quite literally the highest levels. Sources detailing the ongoing clash over a fight that could cost someone their job. Trump's Attorney General Pam Bondi clashing with the FBI number 2 official Dan Bongino. As everybody who follows these kind of stories knows, technically the AG oversees the FBI. But if you remember Comey or other strong-willed FBI officials, when you're at that number 1, number 2 level, they sometimes fight with the DOJ. Sources say Bongino is so upset about all this, he's saying maybe he'll just leave, which would be a very quick tenure, by the way. And he would be leaving in a sort of protest or criticism of Bondi's handling of the Epstein files. Other outside agitators, including Tucker Carlson, saying she's lost confidence. Maybe she has to go. He was not at work today, reportedly. Sources also say Bondi and Bongino got into
Imagine being Dan Bongino and you're like, you know what? I'm taking a day off.
a heated clash Wednesday in a high-level meeting with him, her, FBI Director Patel, and Donald Trump's number 1 person who tracks all this stuff and makes the big staffing decisions, Susie Wiles, the chief of staff, who, of course, also ran the Victoria's campaign. Axios has a report on this where Pam says her piece, Dan says his piece, didn't end on friendly terms. Bongino left angry. And you don't need to be a scholar of reporting or Watergate level intrigue to know somebody in this small meeting is leaking this stuff to Axios if it's true. A source close to Bongino saying he ain't coming back. Out of control furious is the other quote. This destroyed his career. He's threatening to quit and torch Pam unless she's fired, said someone who, again, according to that reporting, spoke with Bongino. By the way, hire podcasters and right-wing media figures to run major parts of the government, and you may find major parts of the government are being leaked on and run like another piece of podcast content. I'll come back to how some of this does swirl around MAGA content. Other parts of it, of course, are serious when you think about the victims in the original Epstein case. All of this, though, occurred because the DOJ has fallen short of the pledges that people around Trump, including Bondi, made. There were many questions about the Epstein case. From the moment of his in-custody death, this news program, for example, has reported on those questions. There are some suspicious details. This news program has not done what a lot of the internet and MAGA right-wing sort of circles have done, which is assert without evidence what maybe happened and then wait for the government to confirm it. Now we're seeing significant backlash from MAGA, probably some of the loudest against Trump since he took office. Journalists, other people following DOJ and Musk may be reporting one set of problems to the administration, but on the right, this is the big problem. All of this is because it was partly stoked by the very people who now say nothing to see here. They stoked this conspiracy which imploded on them.
The DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients? Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now.
In Epstein's case, it is incredibly disturbing. We have flight logs. We have information, names.
Nothing to see. No comment. Nothing to see. No comment. Mm-mm. Nothing to see.
That will come out.
What names are in there, man? You understand how many powerful people probably want this thing to desperately go away?
The FBI airmailed into that operation and said, this is not getting out. Because they do that because this is another government gangster operation.
Seriously, we need to release the Epstein list. That is an important thing.
Release the list. That's the now.
Except they definitely don't want to release the list because Trump is he's on the top 5, dude, on like island visits, man. I mean, it's so bad that like
they got Trump and the DOJ to do this because the public is not buying it. No one No one is buying it. So I never saw any evidence of Trump involved in any of the stuff that came out. It was all fake. The fake Jane Does, all the crap, you know, E.G. and Karl, the crazy leftist cat lady, all of it. So now by coming in and being part of the cover-up, the Trump administration has become part of it. I mean, it's just, you cannot see it any other way. So I just got to the office. I'm going to go throw up, actually. And this only happens every few years when something really, really bad happens or something. And I'm physically gonna puke probably right now. My mouth is watering right now. Because I have integrity. And, you know, I just really need the Trump administration to succeed and to save this country, and they're doing so much good. And then for them to do something like this tears my guts out. And, you know, the left, they're all complicit. They're openly promoting pedophilia. We know they're pure evil. And they'll think it's all funny. Oh, look, Alex is sad. MAGA's tearing itself apart. Your globalist masters literally want you to eat bugs and live in a 5G 200.
I'm so happy to see absolutely nothing has changed in the year I spent not looking at a single Alex Jones clip. We're still exactly where we left him. He's just exactly where we left him.
Square foot coffin apartment. You look at the left. Look at them all posing with their Pfizer shots, looking like dead zombies. I mean, come on, you guys are sick. And so you shouldn't look at those of us that have a soul still and have integrity in pain over this and celebrate, you dumb pieces of fucking shit. You're going against your own self-preservation, serving this evil globalist system and BlackRock and the New World Order and Hakeem Jeffries and all the rest of it. So I'm just processing this right now. I don't know on what planet Trump is doing all this good stuff in the real world and still being demonized by the corporate media and constant lies like, oh, there was no weather alert for flash floods in Texas by the National Weather Service. There was the day before and over 500 times. It's just constant lies. I need to defend Trump. He's being lied about.
I need to defend Trump. He's being lied about. Oh my God.
And then this type of shit happens. I don't even know what to say. I mean, it's just, it's beyond insane. You couldn't try to hurt yourself worse. You couldn't try to discredit the FBI worse than what they've done. Pam Bondi, all of it. All those videos are saying, yeah, she's seen the videos. It's all coming out. And then now it doesn't exist. I mean, what? 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 Damn it. 11 a.m. today, I'll be covering it. And no matter where this information goes, I'll always report to.
I'll always report the news, like how they're trying to feed you bugs. Like I told you guys in the pre-show, Michael Schultz is someone I've only found out about this year, unfortunately. And holy fuck, like, what is who is the type of person that watches this type of podcast? Like, this is pod slop.
I believe when Trump, everything he campaigned on, I believe he wanted to do. And now he's doing the exact opposite thing of every single fucking thing.
I don't know what he's done. Yeah, exactly to your point. If you tell me, it's easier for me to
Sorry, Andrew Schultz. Excuse me. I don't know why I said Michael.
believe you wanted to do all these things if any of them were happening in the way that you said they would.
To that point, like there'll be people that like they'll DM me and be like, you see what your boy's doing? You voted for this. I'm like, I voted for none of this. He's doing the exact opposite of everything I voted for.
Yeah.
I want him to stop the wars. He's funding them.
I can't believe Trump would ever try and start a war. He famously has never had conflict with any other countries ever.
I want him to shrink spending, reduce the budget. He's increasing.
I can't believe he's not reducing spending when he said that we were going to deport hundreds of millions of migrants. Well, not hundreds of millions, millions of migrants. Can you believe it? I didn't realize that spending all that money on ICE was going to cost something. I didn't realize that. I didn't realize that all of the tax cuts for the millionaires and billionaires were going to make our deficit worse. I can't believe that. I didn't know that introducing tariffs was going to make things more expensive.
It's like everything that he said he's going to do, except sending immigrants back. And now he's even flip-flopped on that, which I kind of like. But he's like, oh, well, we kind of need the people working in restaurants and we need our farmers. I believe when Trump...
Except he's still deporting those people. Except he's literally still deporting those people. Can you imagine, like, chat, just remember, life could always be worse. You could be stupid enough to listen to this type of podcast, to listen to the type of podcast of the guy who's like, I can't believe he said he was going to do these things. And then he did them. And then he did. I can't believe it. That's great. He said he was going to deport the immigrants and then he did it. He said he's going to be tough on China and he's going to be tough on the Middle East and he's going to be a strong leader. And then he started a war. I can't believe it. Oh my gosh. What? I can't believe he made spending worse when we spent all this money on ICE and then tariffs. I just don't understand it. Oh my God. How did this happen? How was I blindsided? And now Lula's mogging him. Yes, Lula, mog. All right, back to the video we were watching.
Now, Vice President. The list's on my desk, the Attorney General. The government gangsters, quote unquote, are in charge of all this stuff. The problem is they caught the car. All those people talking up that way now have the goods. They're in the government. They used to be pointing their finger. They found it pointing at themselves, like many an old internet meme, and it's blown up on them. So this matters politically because one or more people may be out of a job. It matters in a deeper sense because we're seeing the limits of governing by clickbait or political conspiracy theory. It also could matter if any of it got back to the real questions about the Epstein case, not whether Pam Bondi was lying when she said she had an Epstein list or is lying now when the memo says it doesn't exist, but can't be both.
Thanks, Top. Thank you.
Now, in the FBI, there's
I need every podcaster to divide 10 by 10 to see if they use a calculator or not to decide if I want to listen to them from now on.
wider dysfunction involving some of these same people who we know from what they're saying have been spending many, many days, a lot of their energy on a client list they now say doesn't exist. But the Times is reporting that the FBI is taking the unusual step of using lie detectors for loyalty tests, subjecting personnel to questions as specific as to whether they've criticized or, quote, cast aspersions on Patel, who you just saw in that other clip talking about gangsters. This looks like something from a movie or another era, but
except that they don't even fucking work.
According to the Times, it's happening. And in Trump's DOJ under Bondi, there's also a purge because there are officials who say they might be targeted not for how they're doing their job, but whether they're insufficiently, quote, politically loyal to Bondi and Trump. Fired without explanation, a culture of fear is how the Post describes it. And so one more point on all this tonight. What started as a very real question about a suspicious in-custody death, any journalist or lawyer could tell you the government's holding a high-profile detainee.
Chatter says, I'm realizing the rich and bourgeois can do whatever they want and laws give the illusion that isn't true until we see it. Yeah. Well, that's the biggest problem with the Republican strategy of like manufacturing all this outrage with their base and then not being held accountable to the outrage that they manufactured. People eventually will turn around and be like, wait a minute. You're not even beholden to the shit that you're claiming that you're beholden to at all, actually. You just do whatever you want because you have more money. What the fuck? Wait a minute. Is the system a scam? Wait a minute.
And they die under suspicious circumstances. You want to investigate that. What started with something real morphed into a MAGA conspiracy theory that was sold so hard by these leaders that it's blown up in their face. And more than almost anything Trump has done thus far in the second term, and you follow the news, you're familiar with it, this is the thing saddling Trump. This is the thing that has them leaking on each other, fighting with each other, talking about not
leaking on each other,
coming back to work, all because the story they sold themselves blew up on themselves. I want to bring in our experts, Michelle Goldberg from the New York Times and MSNBC analyst, and Alencia Johnson, who worked on the Harris 24 campaign and wrote Flip the Tables, Everyday Disruptor's Guide to Finding Courage and Making Change. Plenty in there for the times we're in now. Welcome to both of you. Michelle, multiple things can be true. We're all for investigating and holding the government accountable. If there were problems in the original handling
Oh my God, dude.
of Epstein, it
I like
stretches
how holding them accountable on MSNBC just means like, you shouldn't do that. Also, we won't stop you.
from the Trump folks who were in charge of the Bureau of Prisons at the time. If there was further cover-up or lack of transparency, that would include, of course, the ensuing Democratic administration, and now back to the Trump folks again. So there may be good questions to ask, and yet so many of the questions that have blown up in their face seem to be of their own making. In Bondi's case, saying things that she would know to be untrue.
Yes, certainly. I mean, I should say I don't really have very many priors about this. I'm inclined to believe that if there was evidence that Epstein was murdered, or if there was evidence of a so-called client list, given that we've had first Trump in charge, then Biden, now Trump again, there would be somebody who had the incentive to leak it or to put that out there.
Holy audio. What the hell?
There are, as you said earlier, there are a lot of weird things about this case, including now the changed metadata on the tape that they put out. But I think the key is two things. One, that Pam Bondi has made these statements that can't be reconciled. Either she was lying outright and kind of getting the MAGA people's hopes up when she said, I have this list on my desk.
I mean, I'll say it's something much more simple than that. Pam Bondi just didn't realize that she would have to deliver, or that she would get called out for not delivering. And she was just like, well, we're going to do it. We're going to release them. I have them on my desk. And then she's like, wait, you guys actually want me to do that?
Or she's lying now when she says no such list exists and there's nothing there. And I think that part of it is that there's a difference between someone like Pam Bondi, who could have been a Republican official in a lot of different administrations, and someone like Dan Bongino, who is purely a creature of the MAGA world, would never be in the FBI under any other president, and then sort of has no political or entertainment future if he is seen by the MAGA base as a traitor. You know, Pam Bondi is more of a sort of Bill Barr figure, and so they might all despise her. But if they feel really betrayed by Dan Bongino, who I think probably was a true believer that he was going to come in there and they were going to have this cathartic exposure of all their enemies, you know, if he's now seen as being part of a cover-up, I think that's much more of a threat to him personally.
Yeah, I appreciate that breakdown. That makes a lot of sense. Alencia, I want to play the MAGA meltdown over this for folks who aren't constantly watching The War Room or Tucker.
Yeah, and there's that. But I wanted to show you guys a different MAGA meltdown, which is everyone's favorite little soy ripe boy. Here to tell us all there is no list of Epstein's guests. Dude, what is wrong with like the average chud? Like they have no interesting things to say ever. So they're like, I need attention now. I need to poop myself in front of 4,000 people. Please, 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 please. Jesus, way to be annoying. All right.
Trump speaks. However, when President Trump speaks for the American people more generally, and he says, guys, don't we have better things to do? You can understand his irritation. The man is trying to negotiate an end to a war in the Gaza Strip. He's trying to negotiate an end to a war in Ukraine. He's attempting to revivify the American economy. He's attempting to crack.
Yeah, the tariffs are really going to help with that. Yep, that's really getting into wars with other countries is really gonna revivify our economy.
Down on illegal immigration on a list of American priorities by the Pope.
Yep, having less workers and laborers is definitely going to improve our country.
The Epstein-Maxwell case comes in pretty close to zero.
Oh, I'm so glad that Ben Shapiro is here to tell us that the Epstein list is really not that important. Like, there's like, I know that the collective right just spent the past like 5 years doing nothing but talking about how we have to find the child sex rings in the United States and we need to take them down. But like, now that we have one, well, like, is it really that important? Like, I just like don't think it's that important. I just don't think it's that important.
Just on a list of priorities. However,
Just on a list of priorities. Mm-hmm. Ah, yes, of course. Oh my God, dude. I am kind of in awe that they think that this would work at all, by the way. When Ben Shapiro commented on Saint Luigi Mangione, and he said, like, this is classic left-wing violence, the entire comment section was all, this is not left-wing violence. This is across the aisle, an agreed upon saint. Okay, free Luigi. Everybody's sick and tired of the healthcare. You're off on this one, Ben Shapiro. So I was kind of curious how his audience would take him saying, the Epstein story is really not that important. And lo and behold, Ben Shapiro was helping the obvious cover-up. This is what modern propaganda looks like. I didn't think Ben's credibility could sink lower. Shapiro just hit a next level low. What a coward. Ben, you cannot trust the government. Also, Ben, you can trust the government. You're a coward. Tomorrow, Epstein never even existed. Hey, Ben, nobody believes you. Oh, they eaten him alive. Oh, no. Oh, no. Not convincing at all. Trump getting mad when a reporter brings it up is also not a great sign. This has easily been Ben's worst take ever. Basically, he says, if you have a conspiracy theory, where's your evidence? While conveniently ignoring the fact that they're burying the evidence, which is what we're all pissed about. Dude, the right, literally, they made a fucking monster. They literally created a fucking monster of an audience by hyping up the child sex trafficking, Pizzagate, whatever the fuck garbage for as long as they did. Because then when finally it was exposed that rich people do in fact become sick, depraved fucks. And do in fact have sex trafficking rings. And when they're told to expose them, it's like, oh, well, so, okay, so we would, no. We would expose them, but there's just like one little problem, which is, let me let Alan Dershowitz say it. Let me allow Alan Dershowitz to say what all of us know is true.
Every document would prove I was innocent. So let me tell you, I know for a fact documents are being suppressed. And they're being suppressed to protect individuals. I know the names of the individuals. I know why they're being suppressed. I know who's suppressing them. But I'm bound by confidentiality from a judge and cases, and I can't disclose what I know. But I hand to God, I know the names of people whose files are being suppressed in order to protect them. Every document.
It rhymes with rump. Just on the tip of my tongue. It's on the tip of my tongue. Oh, man. Bump? Stump? I wonder who they possibly could be trying to help protect. It's just like, it's on the tip of my tongue. I just can't seem to remember who it is that possibly could be getting protected by Epstein, the Epstein list not being released. Oh my God. A photo is unrelated on the screen. The photo of Trump and Melania and Ghislaine Maxwell and Epstein, that one's not related at all. Alan Dershowitz is doing this. Yeah, he's doing that. We're all trying to find the person who did
Take
this.
car through the window!
Driver's gone. Somebody call the cops. We need to find that driver.
They could have killed someone. Who Whose car is this?
Yeah, come on. Whoever did this, just confess. We promise we won't be mad.
What?
We'll close our eyes, just take your car and get out of here.
Sir, that's clearly your car.
Wrong.
We're all trying to find the man who did this, all right? We're all trying